Okay. Happy Sunday. Welcome to chapter 2 of Magical Readathon. I had spent the night sleeping at the Leaky Cauldron, woke up, and took myself down to King's Cross Station, and there I ran into Hermione, yay, also the Weasleys, yay, and as I see them, I see the Weasleys like off in the distance. So Hermione and I are right by the entrance to King's Cross, to platform 9 3/4, and the Weasleys are like off in the distance. And Ginny drops her suitcase. It explodes everywhere. Giant mess. And the first prompt is then if I let the Weasleys sort their stuff out and walk with Hermione onto the platform, or if I go and help the Weasleys pick everything up. And I took that choice because I'm a good person. Okay, yes. So I helped the Weasleys put everything back in Ginny's suitcase. All good. The Weasleys head on through the platform, and then Ron and I head on through the platform, and we smack right into it, just like it happened in the book. So I guess me telling Dobby I wasn't going to go to Hogwarts this year didn't change anything. He clearly didn't believe me, which is so rude. Anyway, so smack into the barrier, everything goes flying, and all I can see is orange in regards to Ron's hair. And that brings us to our first reading prompt, which was to read a book with orange on the cover. And I'll be honest, when I first read that, I was like, I don't own any orange books. And then I actually looked at my TBR shelf, and I have like 8. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, guys. Shocked. Anyway, so yes, I had plenty of options of books with orange on the cover, and I ended up going with this bad boy. Illuminae. Orange on the cover, got some nice flame action going on. I love this book. It has got this kind of weird plasticky dust cover, but then the actual cover is like this. Ooh. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love it when there's stuff on the actual cover. It's my favorite. Sorry, I just read part of the back, and it's got a quote on it that I like the quote, and I've seen it in other things. I didn't realize it was from this book. Anyway, moving right along. So yes, Illuminae. I'm very excited to read this. I've heard some really good things about it. Don't actually know a lot of what it's about. It's kind of it's a sci-fi. I believe it's about a couple who have to, their planet gets attacked, I believe. I could actually read the synopsis. Could I do that? One sec. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so I didn't know this. I didn't realize, so the couple, they actually broke up. They break up, like, it looks like they break up at the very beginning, so that's not a spoiler. They break up, and later that day, their planet is attacked, and they have to flee in spaceships. So much drama. Yeah, and then the book is about fleeing, I guess? I don't know. We're going to find out. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited because, so this is a chunk of a book. It is 599 pages. So basically 600 pages. But if you look at it, it's written in this really cool, like, multimedia format. So it's just got like a bunch of it's just like messaging or like whatever that is. So yeah, it's gonna take much shorter read than your normal 600-page book. But look at this. This is just so unique. I've never read a book like this before. So it's just really cool. I'm very excited. And yeah, that is the first book of chapter 2 of the Magical Readathon. That was weird. We're not going to do that again. Sorry. Bye. What? What? Are you like a boy? Jack. Jack. Yeah. Are you like a boy? Yeah, like a boy. Like a good boy. Such a good boy. Such a good boy. Yeah, you are. Hi. So, you have no concept of time, but it is now December 23rd. Yep. It's been 2 weeks since I last updated you because I have no concept of what work-life balance is. Yeah. You don't need to know all the details. Just know it's very busy at work. But I have a crazy awesome book to talk to you about. This book was so good. Oh, glare on. Not glare. There we go. So good. Go read this book. Do it. Oh my gosh. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. To be honest, I'm generally not a big sci-fi person. This was really, really good. Okay, so if I don't like sci-fi, why was this even on my radar? Well, besides the fact that it's a very popular book, everyone likes it. We already talked about how it's got this like multimedia effect going on, which I loved. I think it really added a lot to the story. Telling it in this particular method, I thought was very good. I didn't find it to be gimmicky or anything like that at all. Very pleased with that. Also, it was on my TBR because from the reviews that I had read, I felt like it had a long-distance relationship in here, which, for those of you who don't know, I've been in a long-distance relationship for almost 5 years now, and it's a very unrepresented thing. Fact. So, that was why I wanted to read it. And definitely checked off both of those aspects. Loved the multimedia. Also, I loved, so the messaging, so like the main characters, they spend almost all of this book on 2 separate spaceships, and their entire relationship pretty much is them messaging, instant messaging back and forth, which, same. Ship and everything. Which brings me to another thing that I was not expecting, but I really, really loved. Spaceships are rather surprisingly similar to Navy ships. Who'd have thought? But yeah, just like the terminology and hierarchy of officers and how just the general layout of the ship even is very similar. And I think for me personally, it added a lot to this book. The premise of this story is, I'm gonna set this down, I keep playing with it. Okay, so the premise of this story is you find out very early on that the main characters are living in a mining settlement off on some distant planet, and they are mining illegally, but it's not really portrayed as like a shady underground illegalness. It seems to be a very, like, it's a whole settlement. They have a school, they have hospitals, they have all the families, so children are there, everything. And in the opening pages, this competitor mining group come and attack them and basically bomb everybody, and they're trying to kill everybody. The mining settlement sends out a distress call, and the military comes to save them. The competitor mining company is now like, oh snap, we're doing something really bad, bombing women and children, innocent civilians. We can't let everybody else know, so now they attack the military. Because that makes sense. It's fine, just go with it. So now the military and the mining companies are battling together. They manage to gather as many civilians as they can onto the military ships, and they take off with 3 remaining ships, spaceships. I have to differentiate because, again, the parallels, they're very striking. So the 3 military spaceships take off, and the mining company follows them because they don't want this badness that they did to get out into the public. The military they aren't able to get in contact with anybody. They aren't able to use their jump drive. So they're taking this many month, I think it was supposed to be like 9 months altogether, journey to the nearest planet that they can get to without their jump drive. And from there, then they can get the message out and alert everybody and be like, hey, there's crazy scientists over here, come save us. So that's the setup. Our couple lead end up on different spaceships. And they actually broke up the day, like the morning before the attack. So they are broken up at the beginning of the story. What are you doing, Jack? You don't need to be in the closet. Leave it alone. There's nothing in there. Jack, leave the closet alone. There's nothing in there. You're fine. There's nothing in there, I promise. You know that. I don't know why you want to get in there so bad. He loves going in the closet. I don't know why. He's weird. What was I saying? Okay, so opposite ships. Caddy is we learn very quickly, she's tech savvy, she's good at hacking and breaking the system and not following authority. Versus Ezra, who comes across as kind of your basic jock. He played skee-ball at the school, whatever that is, and he gets conscripted to fly as a pilot. He becomes one of the fighter pilots. I don't know what more I can say without getting into spoilers. Basically, there's an AI situation that gets out of control, as AI situations tend to do. I struggle with AI robot stories, but I really liked how this one was handled. This felt very real to me, a very realistic portrayal of an AI's grasp of humanity. I like that. So there's that hit situation. In addition, we had like I don't want to say zombie, but more, because they're not undead, but kind of like a plague, illness, infestation, virus thing. Lots of people die. It was surprisingly graphic. Teddy bear heart. That's all I'm gonna say. If you've read it, you know, and if you don't, just know that those words will haunt me for the rest of my days. Okay, so love this book. 5 stars. I don't think I've said that yet, but if you hadn't guessed, it was a 5-star read for me. I've already bought the sequel and also the conclusion. It's a trilogy, so I've already bought the final 2 books. They're in the mail right now. The second one's getting here on Friday. Yay. But the purpose of this was for Magical Readathon. This was the reading prompt for Orange on the Cover. Done. 5 stars. Yay. So I did that. I already got back on the website and clicked the little completed box. And if you remember, the scene was we just smacked into the wall. Everything's on the ground. We can't get to the Hogwarts Express. It's chaos. Ron does his whole freak out of like, we can take the car. We can fly the car to Hogwarts. Yeah, we should do that. And the next prompts, or the next choices I had were either agree with Ron and fly the car to Hogwarts, or say, no, Ron, that's crazy. We're gonna wait, we just need to wait for Mr. and Mrs. Weasley to come back. I went with this option because I've never had the instincts of a 12-year-old boy. Sorry. So that's what I clicked. Mr. and Mrs. Weasley came back through in like 15 minutes, and they're like, good job, boys. You did the right thing. Yay. Yes, I know. And they're like, we don't know what happened. That's so weird. Mr. Weasley sent off a message saying like, hey, we missed the train. Sorry. We'll be there in a few hours. We're just gonna be a few hours late. And in the meantime, let's take this little stroll through Muggle London. How cool is this? Checking out all the cool muggleness, which you know Mr. Weasley was all about. And as we're heading out into the city, we pass a comic book store. And that is our second prompt of the chapter, which is to read either a manga, comic book, graphic novel. I think picture book was also an option. Very open-ended prompt. I have gone with a manga. This manga in particular. This is the first volume of the collector's edition Fruits Basket, which was one of my favorite mangas as a kid. Love the anime. I just love this story. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. I loved it. And when I saw that they had published a collector's edition of the whole series, I was like, yes, I need that in my life. So I actually bought this a while ago. Haven't gotten around to reading it yet. With the intent of slowly, over time, getting the entire series as money somehow comes into my bank account. whenever that happens. So yeah, gonna read this probably in one sitting, honestly, because that's how much I love it. Yeah, so that'll probably be, so hopefully I can update you with more later tonight, and not 2 weeks from now, but we'll see. I don't know when work's gonna call me back in. It could be any minute. Finished Fruits Basket. It was really good. Like I said, this was a reread. I read this back in high school, but that was like 12 plus years ago. So it'd been a minute. But I remembered most of it. There were some nuances that I'd forgotten. 4 stars because the first half of the book, or this volume, this publication, which I'm assuming is volume 1 of the original serialization, felt a little off to me. It didn't feel as coherent as the second half did. I don't know if that was because we were still getting introduced to a lot of the characters. There are a lot, obviously, being the Zodiac. But yeah, it just didn't quite feel on point to me. But other than that, a really good, sweet story that I loved. It was a good cozy Christmas time read, I think. So I already went back to the website, and after reading your graphic novel, you are given the scene of going through Muggle London while you're waiting for the Flu Network to open up so you can go to Hogwarts. Get to Hogwarts. Awesome. Everything's fine and dandy, and you don't get detention because you weren't dumb. Sorry, not dumb. Just not 12-year-old boy instincts. And that's the end of chapter 2. So now I'm only a week and a half behind. Progress. And yeah, I have a crap ton of dishes to wash, so I think we're gonna cut out here and we'll start chapter 3 in the morning.